My name is Moses Powell. I've been studying jiu-jitsu for the last 20 years. I'm the master Furendo Visitational. And at this particular time, I'm a senior master in the art of jiu-jitsu Te and jiu-jitsu Ryu.
.radio.net presents to you some of the most deadly jiu-jitsu masters in the world. Trained in the vicious urban inner-city street combat system of sanuces Ryu Jiu-Jitsu, this art was created by the legendary Dr. Moses Powell, the father of American contemporary jiu-jitsu and the greatest martial artist of the 20th century. This network brings together 4 radio shows 4 nights a week, starting with Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. Each one teach one, with the Pia Master himself, Grandmaster Urban Muhammad, and his protege, Professor Terrence Hale. Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. Modern Combat Masters, hosted by the inheritor of GM Billy Davis Jiu-Jitsu, guru of his own Filipino system, and sanuces master, Grandmaster Daryl Sargent, and his co-host, Sifu Reseda de Jesus. Thursday nights at 9 p.m. is Professor Tom Curry's radio talk show. A Kenpo master and professor of sanuces Ryu, 20 years law enforcement, senior tactical training instructor for intelligence retired, and author of the official sanuces Ryu Jiu-Jitsu testing and training curriculum. And Friday nights at 8 p.m. is Making the Connection, hosted by the president of DocRadio.net, Grandmaster in the art of sanuces Ryu and Soke of Kuroshi Kaikan martial arts system, and president of the Family of Sanuces organization, Soki Haisan Khalik, and his co-host, Shihan Farouk Gibbs. All of these shows can be linked to online by typing in docradio.net or listening live at the scheduled time by dialing 646-716-6825. DocRadio.net is also proud to present DocMagazine.net, the world's largest martial art magazine dedicated to Dr. Moses Powell, sanuces Ryu Eye-to-Eye Jiu-Jitsu, urban tactical street self-defense, and streetology. Please join our Facebook group by typing in docradio.net and follow us on Twitter by typing docradio.net. Thank you for your support, and in the words of Doc, eye to eye, heart to heart, to the wall and back, us.
Blog Talk Radio.
Good evening. This is Furqan Shabazz. You're tuning in on the DocRadio.net network. Tonight's show is The Integrity of Sanuces, The River That Never Ran Dry, hosted by Chief Professor Grandmaster Yehuda Shem Yehuda and Professor Yusuf Rahman. Without any further ado, let me bring them in. Heart to heart, Grandmaster. Is Professor on the air?
That might be him calling you now.
Okay. Yeah, I know tonight was supposed to be your debut. You was, but you was going to be running your board, but we had some technical issues. So hopefully by next week we should have everything in full effect. We got Professor.
Wat we denken, aber eigentlich sind 6 geduschen Ausgaben, aber derselbe Ausdruck zeigt, als bloß von...
What the...
Yeah, hold on, what that was. Hold on.
Procent Amerikaner, nicht einmal weggelegt, nicht Geld für keine Deck.
Oh, I don't know. That looked like that was Professor on the line. I don't know. Is his last 4 digits 4583?
Yes.
Yeah, he may be happy. Hold on, let me put him in the screening room. Let me see. Yeah, that was actually his line. I dropped his call, so he had called back. Maybe he was having some. I don't know what that was. But Grandmaster, so what's the topic going to be tonight?
The topic tonight is along with the integrity of the chain of command. Ignorance of the chain of command, it does not excuse you from the chain of command.
Yes, sir. All right.
Along with that, staying with the model. As martial, we don't question question anyone's rank. Whatever that they say that they are, they are. But in that, and whichever discipline that they may be studying, there is a chain of command that they must adhere to that was put in place. Now, if they didn't bother to learn it or apply themselves to it, then how can they look for the residuals that come from it? You have a potential student. That potential student endeavors until the end, until the instructor says that the class is over with. After a decade, that their consistency has not stopped, you realize that they are a committed individual. Not so much as committed to you, but committed to the martial arts. They're showing up on time. Respect is showing up on time for your instructor, not showing up when you get ready, or making excuses, or you're watching the clock. You're watching the clock, and that clock will never move to the time that you're looking for it to be. All right? All of us, as far as the river that never ran dry is concerned, yes, he may have given edicts to individuals to promote whomever to whatever. But along with that promotion comes that individual reaching for the standard bar. See, because in most cases, you get the rank before you actually acquire the skills for that level. And the individual that's in front of you, they are the ones that help groom you to the next level. They are the ones that help you critique and tweak whatever it is that you are studying or learning. All right? Let's say you have I'll use the river that never ran dry. When he was a Sandan, every one of the students from self-defense complete to Comite Rue to Sanuces were just black belts. He was the only one who had third dan. When he started wearing that Christmas tree, they may have been neat on, but they were not on his heels. They had standards to admit to as well as to learn. Whether their information came directly from his mouth to them or he posted it on the blackboard, they were required to learn that information so that you can advance to the next stage, to a stage where you don't have to where the master does not have to hold the student's hand. Because once they make black belt, you're actually on your own at that point. You're on your own in the sense of your level of commitment. You're on your own as far as if you injure yourself, you injure yourself because you were not paying attention and were not applying yourself as to whatever application that you may have been using. The world of martial arts today is quite different. They want the rank, but they don't want to step up to the bar and keep the standards that go along with that. So that's why it was stated, just as rank has been given, so it can be taken. They can never take away what you know, but you can get sanctioned or censured or demoted. As long as you be persistent and you have that tenacity, then you'll get what you have coming. All right. Enough with that. Let's go into an application. Let's take Matador Turn. Matador Turn or Matador Brush. They both require the arm to be fixed. Let's say you hit Uki with MP to the side of the neck, head roll with the hand. As you head roll him with the hand, you make sure he never come back up to his natural height, and you can hit him with that Matador Turn, or you can hit him with that Matador Brush, whether it be across the side of the face, across the temple, or a combination of Matador Turn draping. That draping motion will straighten him straight up. It may even straighten him straight out. You're looking at entries. Those entries are the basis of what this system is about. This system was built on entries. And most of the material that we acquire, if we did our homework and developed the tools, then we, as the master said, that we shouldn't have a problem destroying anything. But if we have not applied ourselves, then you see the flash dance, or you see them faking the funk. But it ain't about faking the funk. It's about you making this knowledge yours so that when push comes to shove, you can answer that bell. When you out with your family, that you can get them home safely. The house to the car to your job, to your home. That's all this has ever been about. Not to knock the Orientals or knock any martial arts system, because they all are good in their own places. But the only thing that's equivalent to this intellectual creation is the intellectual creation. The only thing that is equivalent to, you want to describe something in the system, you have to use a technique that has those properties within it. Let's say the property of moving with the body weight, where you see individuals throw their hands, and if you can't generate the body weight, then it may not do nothing. You want it so that there's always that result. You hit them with the moment of truth and understanding. That moment of truth and understanding should be so that if you put them in that grip, the only thing that can save them is your benevolence or the Creator. Excuse me, I'm just finished working out. No, I didn't break no eggs tonight. And coming up, I broke a lot of eggs. Some I broke accidentally, some I broke accidentally on purpose.
Oh, man. It's crazy.
Yes, it's the truth. I don't need to lie about it. You sometimes, as an instructor, you'll get students that'll come in and try you.
Now let me ask you a question. What's an example of someone trying you?
Okay. Someone, you give them a technique, or you ask them to bring a strike at you, and they decide not just to throw that strike, but to throw something else, or do something else other than what they were instructed to do. That's trying you.
Right.
Then whatever they get from that point, they brought it on themselves. When we did the last phases of training the trainer and teaching to teach, Doc had us come up to Connecticut to Mashaba for us. Anyway, all the masters that were there, the senior masters that are current right now, and he made us do an entry where the attacker throw a hook punch. You weave from the hook punch to heel to toe. From toe to toe, you weave to heel to toe. Then you weave back in. When you come back toe to toe, you strike in his body. When you want us to take the man into ukiwaza. Ukiwaza is a sacrifice throw. But as he was saying that most of the individuals, they were so out of shape that they couldn't even do the material. As a matter of fact, they didn't even know the material. And as a jiu-jitsu practitioner, throws are not something that should be foreign to you, especially since you're not picking nobody up. You might be tossing them over, but you ain't picking them up. So a lot of them tried to fake the funk and flash dance their way through it, or didn't even retain what the entry was. I have students now, and some of them ask me questions. They say, "Well, excuse me, sir, how do you remember all that?" That is a part of your job, to remember the material that you are being taught, because you get it in the class, but you still have to make it yours. So that way, you learned it with a person throwing a straight punch. Now, so what happens when the person changed that strike to a backhand strike? Can you still get that same application? What happened when they throw a double strike, a jab, hook punch, or a jab, hook punch, knee? Can you still get back to the original application that was requested? Are they up on their landings? If they're not up on their landings, then you sort of got to carry them, almost hold their hands through it. Me, myself, I say. I like mine raw. That way I have no misunderstanding about what it is that I'm doing and what will be the outcome from that endeavorment. Let's take, person throws a jab. As they throw the jab, you slip. As you slip, you turn back to him, hook punch to the kidney, hit him up under the chin, wedge to the throat. have no time to be doing the rest of that stuff because there ain't nothing left for the person. Or you do the move slip, and you cut him down. You cut him down from his knees. Step to the outside. As you move to the outside, you come to the back of the thigh, the lower back of the thigh, and you make him and you cause that person to collapse. As they collapse, you're standing right behind them, hitting them with one of them not one jiu-jitsu punch, but two jiu-jitsu punches to the back of the neck. It's a done deal. The only thing that saves us is the fact that control. And then understanding what focus is about. Because for most martial artists, they think that focus is throwing a strike and then you being able to stop it. Well, in Sanuces, that's not that way. The master spoke that focus is beyond touch. Now,
what do you mean by that? Focus is beyond touch.
Focus is beyond touch. That means that you can touch that person and make their body do whatever it is that you want it to do. You can hit them dead in the face and not break the skin, not make them bleed, not break the plate behind their nose, because focus is beyond touch. But if you're not touching that, you're interacting with a person, and they're not touching you, then that's not an honest application from them. They don't really know whether or not what they're doing can actually work, because you've got to take this from the dojo to the street. So it's given to you from a street mentality, all right? And, okay, if you ain't that good with your landing, then I can see a person not dropping the entire technique on you with the whole crunch in it, but it's got to have some of the outcomes that's supposed to come from it. There's a rolling punch that he was very fond of doing. Have you ever seen, the floor and ceiling bag?
Yeah.
Okay. The floor and ceiling bag was one of the only apparatuses that was in 554. And we used to have to, it's set outside the patch that's set in the middle of the mat. Anyway, it was anchored down by a weight. He'd have all of us we might start up running around the mat. After we run around the mat, you have to run and jump up into the chair. As you step up into the chair, you leaping off out of the chair over to the object and striking the object before you hit the ground. Some crashed and burned, but eventually you got it right. That is a part of the integrity of the system. That everything that he put in it, all of us now may not remember it, but it would take all of us to actually give this to the world, where it wouldn't be counterfeit. Or you know how you get somebody program your computer, and you tell them, say, well, look, it ain't working right. Well, tell you what, take it back to factory default. Okay, and then you go back to it, and it tell you that the platform that's on there is possibly counterfeit. So yeah, it have the aesthetics of what you're looking for, but when it comes down time for you to do the work that it used to do, it can't do it. Because all of the programs or the material is not there for it to work from. You got breaking the circle with the front leg and breaking the circle with the back. What does breaking the circle with the back leg give us that breaking the circle with the front leg does not? You have breaking the circle and ride with it. That's the motion that we talked about during the interim when we started this. The closest thing that looks like the arm action would be cross-body block. But you're not doing cross-body block. You're merely moving with the rhythm of that individual's movement and slightly deflecting that strike and still keeping them within where you can reach and touch them. And do anything that in the repertoire that he asks you to do. Not knock the arm 50 feet and then you expect to go ahead and still complete the action. Or you have take the same technique, ride with him, breaking the circle. As you break the circle, you go into the rollout. You go into the rollout and you take out that arm. This rollout, you would actually be going across his front when you do it. Or you can go beneath the arm and go after his chin. So that's using the material or mastering the material so you can use it in any combinations that you would like to use it in. You got headbutting. Let's say you take an individual into, he come in with double punch. You got backhand fan block. When after the fan block, after you finish the last block, you drop axe arm on his shoulder blade. After dropping the axe on his shoulder blade, you hit him with the moment of truth and come across his chin with your forehead. Pow! He's out. It's a done deal. He's out of it. Or you take the same movement again. As you do the head roll to him, the side of the neck that opens up as you complete the head roll, you butt him with your forehead in the karate triangle. It's a done deal again. You're going down. An individual wants to go into, they're coming along, all right? And as they're progressing in their development, they decide they want to see whether or not if what you're giving them is the real deal, the real McCoy. So they start pushing and shoving while they're doing the attack. Okay? So what are you going to tell them? Don't push and shove, just come in? No, for me, I'm telling them nothing. You come fast, come slow, just come. I'll deal with it when it gets there. Okay? This is what sets us apart from the students. Your ability to go ahead and retain that information that was given to you, still working on it and developing it, and then being able to pass it on to your students. At the point that you can't pass it on to the students, then what are we doing? What are we doing? We're responsible for those individuals who solicit us. Some of the individuals that may solicit you may already be accomplished martial artists in their own right. Okay? But in them soliciting you, you realize that all you're doing is tutoring them or upgrading their skills because they're going back originally to their primary system of wherever they came from. They have never left. So it would behoove you to try to give them the terminology and that go along with it because, again, it's not applicable to them for where they're going to go to. So you basically just giving them, getting them ready to go back to where they came from. We're able to do their material and do ours too. To extract from their materials things that they're having problems with or struggling with. And that go from getting off the line to the pyramid position, to the straddle leg position, to slip, to stealth. Stealth would be disappear. It was named disappear in the beginning. It evolved. The technique evolved to the name of stealth. You stand in front of the person, and next thing you know that you're behind them. You may have blinded them before you step behind them. You know, some martial arts systems teach, and there is no contact whatsoever. Okay, that's a college level application. If you study martial arts for what it truly is, then without the contact, you don't even really know what you have. You don't even really know how you're going to fare when somebody put their hands on you. Whether or not if you're going to stand the test of time or you got a glass chin. It is what it is. What we try to do is introduce the students to as it was introduced to us. Explain the information as it was explained to us. And that which we do not have an answer to, be honest and forthright and tell a student, okay, you'll get back to them on that information, with that on that question that they asked, with the right, exact, surality answer for them. So you can show them where they're going.
Grandmaster, I got a question for you. Are you there?
Okay.
Yeah. You started off by talking about the chain of command. You know, when you look at Sanuces Rule, especially from a low level. You know, you could look up, you see the black, the Shihan, the professor, like that. But as you go all the way up, since Doc never really left it into the system, what keeps the chain of command intact?
What keeps the chain of command intact is that the fact that there are people that came up that are still alive, that went through the chain of command. We have to understand something. Within Self-Defense Complete, there was no one that was at the rank of Grandmaster. All right? As far as the student body goes. All right? Yes, there was the potential for them to evolve and grow as much as they committed themselves. All right? But within Self-Defense Complete structure, it was white belt, yellow belt, green belt, purple belt, brown belt, black belt, Nidon, Sandon, Yodan, Godan. As a matter of fact, I would say that the black belts they were called sensei because they were at a level that they could now actually assist and see for themselves where they needed tweaking at. The more you redo something, the more you wind up refining yourself as well as the person who you are imparting this knowledge to. Then you see other ways. When Self-Defense Complete evolved into Sanuces, all right, there was never a Soki, the rank of Soki within that structure itself. That rank does not exist within the chain of command of Sanuces whatsoever. Yes, there are individuals in the system who may have the rank of Soki, but they didn't get that from Sanuces. That came from wherever. Is it applicable? Can they do the material on the level that a 10th degree red belt should be able to do the material on? That's up to that person. Are they committed? All right. Here we are now in Sanuces Rule, eye to eye, heart to heart, to the wall and back. Okay. From that era right there, we go from white belt to yellow belt to green belt to purple belt to brown belt to black belt. All right, to second dan, third dan, fourth dan, fifth dan. Let's say from third dan, we have the Shihan range. All right, by the time you get to sixth dan, all right, so that makes you have 3 levels of Shihan, all the way up to fifth degree. All right, 6th degree is you have moved into the last level of your Shihan, and you're being prepared to go into your professor's level. That means that all the material that you didn't gather from that period of time, you're able to do that with no problem. You're able to teach it from sitting down in a chair to laid up crippled in a bed, because that knowledge is transferable. But if you haven't had the experience and the exposure, you can't do either or. You can only do what you know.
Grandmaster, 1 second. Let me bring in Professor. I think Professor joined us.
Okay.
Professor Rockman, you on the air? Heart to heart, sir.
Yeah, I thought you don't like me no more. I mean, you know.
No, you know what? As the Grandmaster was talking, I actually had to restart the computer, so I just got logged back in.
So it's just not me, huh? Okay.
Hey, but you know what? But you know what? We did try to bring you in, and it sounded like you were talking to your Russian tutor. It was in Russian.
I wish it was like that.
Yeah. So yes, Grandmaster. So what we left off at, he was talking about the chain of command. Actually, he went off into techniques, but I brought him back to the chain of command, and I was asking him, since there's no heir to Sanuces, what keeps the chain of command intact?
Okay. Well, take Master Yama's system. Take Aki Jiu-Jitsu. Take Ninja. Take
The Windsor?
Karate. Take Goju. Take whatever you want to take. There's a basic framework to that particular martial arts system.
Yes, sir.
There's a basic framework. Take ninjutsu. There's a basic framework to that particular martial arts system. So the same thing with sanuces. There's a basic framework, and like Grandmaster said, you have people that were there in the beginning, which is 1973. You have people that went from a white belt that got on the mat and couldn't do nothing. They know how to punch. They know how to block. They know how to stand up. They know how to fall. They know how to do nothing. And they had to go through every step to the master level.
Yes, sir.
So if you want to know, say Soki Yojo. Soki Yojo started from white belt. So if you want to know what it takes to get to, say, green belt, that's what he's there for. What do you have to do when you have to go to green belt? When you got to be 7th degree, what type of knowledge do you have to have in order to get to 7th degree? You have people that have went through every step, and every step of the chain of command. So you don't have to guess at what it is, because their life experience tells them what the chain of command is. So if one say, no, that ain't it, then you have 5, 6, 7, 8 other people that's still alive that say, oh, no, you know what you're talking about.
Exactly.
Come on now, we were green about together. You know what you're talking about.
Now, we're not saying that if an individual is running a commercial operation that they're not fattening or feathering their own pocket, but that student still hasn't gained any more knowledge than they had from before.
So therefore, that's why there's no consistency in sanuces, because I have a school, and I made it came in at first-degree black belt. So I don't know nothing about under these first-degree black belts. That's why I came out as first-degree black belt. I took my skill, I took my knowledge that I had, and I added to it. So I don't know about under that. Or I came at 6th degree black belt or 5th degree black belt. So now look all of the steps that I didn't have nothing to do with.
Yes, sir.
Look all the steps I had nothing to do with. I don't know about that. I don't know about being a white belt. I don't know about being a yellow belt. I don't know about that stuff because I was so far past that. And the doctor doesn't take away he can't take away your knowledge, he doesn't take away the right. He said, well, just alter how you do things to fit what you have to do once you come into sanuces.
Yes, sir.
So I mean, you don't have the fundamental exercises that you got when you was a white belt, when you was a yellow belt, when you was a green belt, when you was learning all the basics. Some people call it Keon. Okay, you don't have that time because you weren't there. You weren't there. You don't know what it takes to get from there to there. But you have enough people that's still alive that went through that. So the mere fact that you have people that are alive, it will hold the chain of command together.
And what was in one level of his intellectual creation, as he gained knowledge, he just came to a realization that, all right, I have to add on to what I had started. And here is the complete package, which was the Master Series, Training the Trainer and Teaching to Teach, where that dealt with nothing but master instructors who had systems who were masters in their own right. Some of them had systems of their own, okay? But it also meant that you had to apply yourself to the material. And if that material wasn't being taught then you had to get with someone that had that material. That's not that you're not stepping down from what you know, but you're acknowledging that there's gaps in your education or within the curriculum that you call yourself presenting to the general public or to the martial arts world. It is what it is.
Hey, Grandmaster, I know for a fact that I was told that yourself and Soki Hassan were one of the very two people that were authorized to actually videotape Doc. And you being, you being sanctioned by Doc to videotape him, First of all, why were you chosen? Like, why did he select you to do that? And number two, what were some of the nuances from videotaping this man and documenting this man that most people may not have picked up on, but you might have picked up on from videotaping him?
Okay. Then some of the nuances, I'll start with that first. Would have been axe arm, sword arm, sleight of touch, reverse.
Excuse me, Grandmaster, what is sleight of touch?
Sleight of touch is you dropping your entire body weight into a person's chest plate, and their whole insides drop to the pelvic floor. Some in the universal system, it'll be known as they call it dim muck or the death touch. But the whole system itself has that within it. Again, because he told us, he said, look, all these moves are dangerous. All these moves can destroy. So you don't have one technique that you can go in and get that application from. You have several of them that you can go and get that from. All right? But guess what? On the master level, you can only work that out with another master. You can't really put that on underbelts. Their body's not conditioned to it, and you'll look around and you won't have no eggs in the crate. You'll have to start all over from scratch. All right. As far as why did he chose me? Well, okay. The simplest way to say it is, I paid attention, and I had a desire to learn. And there was no level of whatever he was dishing out, I wasn't prepared to absorb and be able to give back what I was actually shown, and to also be able to explain it. Does it answer the question?
Yeah, yes. And let me ask you this question. I want you to think on this one. I want you to think of a time when you videotaped Dr. Moses Powell. Okay, you videotaped him. I want you to think about the location, wherever you was at, New York, Connecticut, down south, or wherever you was at, around the world, wherever you was at. So you're videotaping this great master, and as you're videotaping him, you see him do something. And you're like, whoa. You see this technique, and your job is to videotape this man, but you have to put the camera down and look at it yourself. Have you ever had that kind of epiphany watching him on the other side of that tape recorder? And if so, can you describe where was it, what happened, and what was he doing that made you get this epiphany in terms of what he was doing?
Okay. It wasn't that I had to put the camera down. He would look around and say, where that motherfucking shim at? Come take this ass whooping. Those were my epiphanies. Now, don't get me wrong. I didn't have a problem with him doing those techniques on my fellow classmates and colleagues.
Yeah.
But if you have students and they have a fear or a phobia or they have reservations in training, then he can't get off, no matter who you are, because the student is not committing to coming. All right. They have fear that you don't have no control, or they have fear in themselves that they can't meet the standard. But we got to go through the fire to be proven. I've taped him alone. I've taped him in group sessions. Okay, for me, they gave me an opportunity to look back at the footwork. Because it wasn't the hands that was making it possible, it was the footwork that actually made the technique work. Because if you look at his hands, it'd be like one of those musicians in an orchestra moving his hands and that's just how smoothly and how quickly they be going. Well, only difference was there were strikes on the other end of it. He didn't have no he didn't have no stick pointing to the brass section or to the wood section.
Yeah, it'd be the blur. It'd be like.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And it wasn't no flash dance either. Guaranteed told you Every time he touched you, you grunted. You grunted, pooted, farted, and a few other things.
646-716-6825. You're tuning into the integrity of Sanuces of the river that never ran dry with your host, Chief Professor Grandmaster Yehuda Shem Yehuda and Professor Yusuf Rahman. 646-716-6825. I see two callers on the line. I'm gonna try to bring them on. The last digits is 7759. Sorry, I hit the wrong one. 7759. You're on the air. I actually hit the screen button with this person. Let me put them on hold. Let me go to another call.
At least you did it, sir, instead of me.
Yeah, definitely. We have another caller. 40014. You're on the air. 4014. You're on the air. Okay, Grandmaster, you can continue.
All right. So lost my thought. I know I'm getting old now. Anyway, other epiphanies would be after let's say we left Hartford. We were mandated to take the material back to our base and work on it. And when he saw us again, he wanted to know whether or not if we had that material. And he also mandated that Professor Rockman be also introduced to the same material. So the other part of my epiphany was realizing that, okay, you better give this material up to this colleague just as it was given to you. Other than that, I'm going to have the problem. So I would say to my own colleague, look at here, you know what? I'm passing you on this knowledge, okay? And he looked at me and said, well, look, Shem, your students, they ain't doing that. I said, look at here, they my students. We his students. We have him to deal with. They got me to deal with. So he said, well, yeah. Well, so you take your ass on over in the corner and you work that shit out any kind of way that you need to do it, but you work it out. As a matter of fact, take the students over there and you can use them as your guinea pigs while you work that out. So, okay, so he said, well, look, where do you want the man to end up at? There. So at that point, when Doc came back, he said, well, okay, well, JoJo Dance has been doing what he's supposed to be doing? Yes, sir. Now, okay, from that point, because I don't need no problems. I don't need the problems of not being able to meet the criteria and keep the regimen as it is. So 6 months now, 20 months from now, 15 years from now, that material is still being taught as it was being taught, but we're also learning more from the archives. Archives, you may not believe this, my brother, but the archives is almost a living, breathing thing. You can go and view the archives one day, and tomorrow when you go back and view it, you'll see something else that you didn't see before in the application. When we originally started out, we may have been amateur videographers, okay? So he made us learn something that we may have not wanted to do or endeavor in, but it was for our own broadening our knowledge so that we could be better teachers, so that we could give the information up just as it was given to us. Don't put nothing in there that's not there. Know to whom you're giving it to and give it up like you got it.
Now, Grandmaster, I want you to go into with the audience. How many of these authentic tapings that you have of Dr. Moses Powell in your possession?
36.
36. Okay. So
6 hours apiece.
So, how many hours?
6 hours apiece.
Wow. Man, you got 36 tapes in 6 hours apiece.
That's right. I decided to introduce 18 books to the general public, and the rest of it I was going to keep in my private archives.
Wow. So you got 216 hours. Wow. So this particular master, Philippus Rook, has 200. First of all, where else can you go in the world? And where else can you go other than docradio.net? Where else can you go in the world? What teacher can you call? What Sanuces master can you call right now that has 216 hours of authentic tapings of Dr. Moses Powell other than DocRadio.net? Professor Rockman, you know anyone who has those many hours under their belt?
No, I don't.
You do?
No, I don't.
216
no, I don't. And I don't
hours.
And my tape library may be 22 tapes. The 22 tapes, it may average like an hour or two. Most of them like 2 hours of tape. Some was short, but most of them was like 2 hours of tape. So, and I don't even have, I have more videos than I might ever reuse.
Wow. 216 hours. So now, Grandma, let me ask you
because when you go to say one tape, say you take Snooker's Rule number 1. Like you have all out A Valley, got it. Snooker's Rule number 1. He may do 2 techniques, and he may do 5 or 6 variations.
Yes, sir.
So that's like 7 techniques he did on that one part of the tape. So if you take 1 to 5, you may get 70, 75, 80 variations.
Wow. That's crazy. So Grandma, let me ask you.
He don't do a strict technique. He do a technique, and at the same time, he may, depending on how you feel, he may do 5, 6, 7, 10 variations of that original technique.
So, Grandmaster, out of those 216 hours of video footage that you have, just kind of like estimate, just throw a number out there. Out of those 216 hours of video footage, how many techniques would you say is what comes out of that out of all that footage?
Shit. You want me to come up with a number, huh? Oh, wow.
Yeah. That's kind of hard.
That would be like trying to pick up a handful of sand and count the grains.
Yeah, it's kind of hard because if you got one tape, you may have 10 or 15 variations, and that's like an hour. So what are you talking about? 216 hours.
Okay, so let's just average. If you say for every hour there's about 10 variations. So if you do 216 hours, that's 2,160 techniques. If you include the variations, 2,160 techniques. Now, if the disciples, if the fan base, the diehard followers of DocRadio.net, as we launch this site and they come into the classes, they come into the seminars, they become premium members, and they get connected with these 2 masters, Professor Yusuf Bachman and Grandmaster Chief Professor Yehuda Shiv Yehuda. When we get professed with these 2 masters, if they master these 2,160 techniques,
impossible. Take you 5 lifetimes.
Okay, it may be but we know that the 2,100 roughly, the 2,100 techniques is a springboard from 216 techniques because we say one technique has 10 variations. So it would be safe to say that we can expose them over time to at least 216 techniques, right?
Yeah, over a long period of time.
Yeah, over a long period of time.
You understand one thing because, all right, if you say fan block, sword arm block, scissor breaking the arm, judicial arm roll into popping the rotator cuff, judicial head roll into chin pop. How long is it going to take the average person to be able to do that?
Well, we already know that. People who come into Sanukas commit a lifetime to this.
Okay, so if you say it was going to take you a while to get that one technique I just gave you, start to finish. Fan block, sword arm block, scissor, breaking the arm, judicial arm roll, pop the rotator cuff, judicial head roll in the chin pop. So that's one technique, or one technique. Now you got all the others. You got all the 216 techniques.
Wow. So okay. So let me ask
me. And then you do that in a month or 6 months, where you do it properly.
Grandmaster, let me ask you a question. If a person master all 216 of these techniques, where would their martial arts skill be? Where would they be as a martial artist?
They'd be doc.
They should be bulletproof.
They'd be doc. If they master 216 techniques where they don't have to think about it, they just do it, they'd be doc.
Wow.
For real.
They'd be doc. Because now remember you got to do them as they're given. You know, you can't add what you want to add to it. No, however the technique's given, you got to do it that way.
Now, let me ask you to master this question. Now, a lot of people are going to say that you may be biased because this is your show. You know, these are your videotapes. But, you know, hopefully you're not biased, though. But is there any other place that you could think of that anyone could get all of these 216 techniques that you have?
Absolutely not.
No. No. Let me ask this again. And again, people are going to say, well, this is their show. Of course they're going to say this is their show. But no, step out, think outside your show, your tape.
Okay, if that's the case, then you look at these people do what they do. It's proven in the pudding. You look at what they do. Let them do what they do. People all over the country doing stuff. Look at what they do. Take the model, which is him.
Yes, sir.
Well, when the website launches,
tell them to do it and see how far they get.
Well, when the website launches, which is going to be in a few days, real soon, because now everything is perfect now. When the website, I expect that memberships and this stuff should be off the hook. I mean, we should be able to sell out within weeks. We should have so many people signing up to get connected. And, of course, it's going to be a premium membership, you know, but it's going to be worth the investment because there's no other place in this creation that you can get these 216 hours nowhere else. And this is coming from a professor and a grandmaster. And this is what you two men, and you really believe that the 216 hours of footage that you have, you can't get this nowhere else.
No.
Oh, like I said, you people, many of us have seen martial arts do in seminars. They see them, you know, in day school and all over the place. Now, we ain't got to go nowhere. We can just deal with the reality. Okay. Take what you see people do. Apply it to these 216 techniques you're talking about that he do. Because we ain't talking about Grandmaster Shem, we ain't talking about Professor Rockman, you talking about Dr. Mansur Musa Muhammad or Dr. Moses Powell.
Exactly.
So, take whatever they do, go wherever you want to go, take what they do, and then apply it to his 216 things that he do. And tell me somebody that measure up. Yeah, believe me.
And we also want Dr.
Take the 65, 70 little clips that they got on that they had on YouTube. Tell somebody to do it all from memory.
And these videotapes is coming from one of the sanctioned videographers of Dr. Moses Powell. Because Chief Professor, Dr. Moses Powell, you were sanctioned to be his videographer, right?
Yes, sir.
You know, every famous person had a videographer or had a photographer. They either had a photographer or they had a videographer that followed them everywhere they went. And this is one of this is one of two that actually was sanctioned to do this. I mean, this is amazing. This is and Grandmaster, how often do you look at your tapes?
Well, let's see. I like to sleep at night, and if we watch them, you can't sleep because it'll keep you up all night reviewing what you just saw. Because you would have to slow the material down. If your DVD player have that capacity to slow things down, then you're going to try to slow it down to its slowest frame, and then you bring it back to real time. And after you dissected the technique, what's in it, what moves are in it. Now you've got to go ahead and book him, bring it. Because all of this is based upon timing. If you don't do the technique at the right speed, if you don't do the technique from the right angle, you're not going to get those results. And understand, it was about movements, angles, steps, and position.
Now, Grandmaster, let me ask you this question. Are you able to, out of these 216 techniques, are you able to put together an online, I got some few questions. Are you able to put together, we're going to give you the technology, the platform. We got you covered on all that. We're going to give you the ability to video. We even can find a dojo. We got all that covered for you. All I'm asking from you, though, we give you the facilities, the technology, the power behind you. Are you able to, out of the tapes you have, are you able to put together online seminars and online curriculums based on the knowledge that you have?
Without a shadow of a doubt or contradiction. This is what I do.
Wow. Only on Doc Radio. You can't get this nowhere else. Grandmaster, are those tapes still on YouTube right now?
No, sir. Well, some of them are, but they're not on what I posted. They're on from some of the other masters that may have posted clips there.
Yeah, and I want everybody to know, if you have his tapes on YouTube, and if it's not sanctioned by him, and I'm going to check with him, we're gonna go after those tapes. We're gonna get that stuff taken off, because right now, this is a new movement, and Doc Radio sees value in these masters. We see value in those tapes, and like Doc said, nothing is free. All this free stuff is gone. Nothing is free but a book. Didn't Doc say that? Wasn't that a quote from him?
That's a fact. Ain't nothing free but a bullet.
Yeah.
Our lessons are drawn up, the archives itself. We don't just teach from our head. We choose a lesson plan. Sometimes we have to build it around what the students bring to the table. If you have students with range of motion difficulty, then you have to build the technique around that individual's range of motion difficulty. If that individual is Jerry's kid, then you have to take the technique down to Jerry's kids to do it. Yeah, Jerry Lewis, that's what I'm talking about. Look at him, he's walking.
Yeah, you know when they, I think you old enough to remember the Taliban come on?
Yeah, I remember that, I remember that.
Okay, Taliban every year came on, and one year the child was in a wheelchair, couldn't do nothing, he couldn't move, and 2 or 3 years later he could move his head and his arm, and next you know he had them big, heavy braces, and he could take 2 steps and that kind of stuff. So myself and Grandmaster have this terminology we call Jerry kits, where a person just don't understand something. You got to take it down to the bare minimum. Put your foot over there, put your arm over there, put your foot over there, put your foot over there, turn your body over there. So that's what we call Jerry kits.
But this came from him. We didn't make up Jerry's kids. This came from him. We just keep it alive. This way there's...
in other words, we took the knowledge, we took the application, we took how he dealt with different people over the years, and their range of motion, or their lack of being able to move in certain directions. And over the years, we took it, applied it, and we apply it. So we take that knowledge and we apply it to individuals. That's why I say that you have to be Dr. Powell to be able to do these 215 techniques, because there's so much material. It's impossible.
You know what, Professor? Now I finally get, and now it clicks when you say there's so much techniques. How do you have time to add to it? Because if you got 216 core techniques from 216 hours of footage, and if there's and really we're saying 10, but Doc actually said from one technique there's 1,000 variations. So if you have an infinite amount of variations from a core 216, you could dedicate an entire lifetime to this.
That's what it boils down to.
Look, I got 40 September, end of September, 43 years I've been doing this thing.
Right.
43 years. And I go look at a technique. And I may see that technique 50 times. I may look at the technique 50 times. And now if I go look at the same thing, I'll see something different. So if you talk about one technique that I've looked at 50 times, and I'm still getting something from it, what are you doing about 200 techniques? Never my whole life I ever get to it. I may have seen the 216 techniques over 40-something years, you know, but no way where I'm going to remember it, and no way where I'm a master of 216 techniques. Like I have.
Right.
I may master the move in them 216 techniques. The core movement I may better master, but as a technique by itself, never in my whole life, and I've already been doing this 43 years, to be able to master them 216 techniques. Like
now, Grandmaster, let me ask you this question. This is the question that I'm actually kind of scared to ask. I'm kind of scared to know the answer to this. Out of those 216 techniques, and this is just an approximation, but out of those 216 techniques, do you understand the application behind all of those techniques?
45% of it.
You said 45%?
Yes, sir.
And the other 55%, how do we go about getting that 55%?
We by studying longevity and understanding whether or not if he was heel to toe or toe to toe. If you don't have that, then you can't even navigate the system itself, because that's what this is based upon: heel to toe and toe to toe. Let's say you want to do bow and arrow pin. If you get behind the person, you can't do bow and arrow pin because the arm don't bend that way. And you can't push back on the head or move the head to the side or make them whip around and throw them in reverse. That's knowing whether or not if you're supposed to be at his wrist.
Hey, Grandmaster, we only got 45 seconds left. I need you to take us out.
Love is the message. Unity. Are we going to do this as a unit, or are we going to fake the funk? I'm committed to helping those that want to be a part and do this. We're available for that. With that eye to eye, heart to heart. Wall and back.